The auctioneer's gavel crashed down, and I stood there, arms crossed, watching the final bid seal the deal. Sold, he bellowed. In a heartbeat, the lawnmowers, vintage toolboxes, kayaks, wine racks, kids' bikes, and generators were gone, snatched from the HOA members who treated my ranch's storage barn like their personal dump. Chaos erupted. Board members shouted into phones. One woman collapsed, sobbing over a retro typewriter. I turned, walked back to my house, and left the door unlocked, daring them to come knocking. This wasn't just about clearing my barn, it was about boundaries, respect, and the fight against those who think you're too weak to push back. My name is Daniel Brooks, a 48-year-old retired mechanical engineer and widower, and this is how I turned an HOA's arrogance into their downfall, uncovering a secret that threatened everything I held dear. 4 years ago, after losing my wife, Ellen, I returned to my family's ranch outside Austin, Texas, seeking solace. The land, passed down through 2 generations, was my refuge. But peace was short-lived. The war began with Victoria Langley, the HOA president, a polished blonde in designer blazers, married to wealth, and drunk on control. Her board was a loyal crew: Carl, a retired deputy with too much time, Evelyn, a gossip queen, and Ryan, an IT guy who acted like he ran the town. My ranch bordered their suburban development, forcing me into the HOA. I paid dues, attended meetings, and kept to myself until I came back from a 2-week trip to Montana and found my barn stuffed with their junk: cribs, Christmas decorations, surfboards, and boxes labeled Megan's Quinceañera. It was a flea market explosion. Furious, I confronted Victoria at her pristine colonial. Her smile was plastic. "Oh, Daniel, we figured you wouldn't mind. The town's storage rates went up, and your barn was empty." I stared, incredulous. "You assumed. It's temporary," she cooed. "A community favor." "I didn't offer one," I snapped. She blinked, unaccustomed to defiance. "Don't be selfish. It's for everyone." I walked away, hands shaking. Calls to the board went unanswered. Then, the newsletter dropped a bombshell: a community storage agreement for my barn, and signed, charging residents fees that went straight to the HOA. They'd turned my property into their cash cow. I don't rage, I plan. I visited my lawyer, Tom, a lifelong friend. Showing him the evidence, he whistled. "This is the boldest HOA scam I've seen. It's your land, Daniel. Let's play hardball, but clean." The strategy was born. I changed the barn's lock, installed a motion camera, and waited. Victoria pounded on my door, alternating between lectures and pleas. I stonewalled her. "I'm organizing," I lied. "You'll hear soon." I cataloged every item, photographing and boxing them. Texas law was clear: unpermitted property stored over 30 days could be deemed abandoned after reasonable notice. I posted notices on the HOA board, next door, and trees, giving 21 days to reclaim. No one came. I called Jake, a local auctioneer, with a booming laugh. When I explained, he roared, "Let's sell their junk." We set the auction for a Sunday, advertised it online, and let curiosity spread. The day before, I emailed Victoria and the board: "Remove your items by 6 p.m. or they're sold." No response. Auction day was pandemonium. Cars jammed my driveway, dealers, neighbors, bargain hunters. HOA members strolled in, clueless, until they saw their strollers and camping gear tagged. Screams followed. Victoria, red-faced, yelled into her phone, "Call the sheriff." As the gavel fell, I netted $4,200 after Jake's cut. Then, red and blue lights flashed. Sheriff Hayes, a weathered man with a no-nonsense mustache, stepped out. Victoria rushed him, claiming theft and trespassing. I handed Hayes a folder: land title, footage of unauthorized dumping, notices, and the newsletter. He skimmed it, then turned to Victoria. "This is his property, ma'am. He followed the law. Without a court order, my hands are tied." Her jaw dropped. "He sold our things." "Abandoned property," Hayes said. "Texas law." She pointed at me. "I'll sue," I muttered. "Take a number." Hayes offered to stay, but I waved him off. "It's handled." The next morning, a notice was taped to my mailbox: "Emergency HOA meeting. Attendance mandatory." I laughed, sensing their panic, and decided to go. The community center was packed, tension thick. Victoria, flanked by Evelyn and Ryan, opened shakily. We're addressing the unauthorized sale of community property. I interjected, that barn's mine. Murmurs grew. Greg, a neighbor, stood. You ignored his notices. It's your fault. Lisa, a mom, added. He could have been kinder, but it's his land. Another voice demanded, where's the storage money going? Victoria squirmed. For the community garden and admin costs. What garden? Someone shouted. Laughter broke out. I raised my hand. I move for an independent audit of HOA spending. Greg seconded. Hand shot up. Victoria slammed the table. You're ungrateful. I built this community. A slow clap started. We didn't crown you queen, someone muttered. She stormed out, Evelyn and Ryan trailing. Then, a man in a suit slipped in, handed the chair a letter, and left. It was an injunction from Judge Larson, halting board changes until the civil suit resolved. The room deflated. War loomed. The lawsuit landed, demanding $28,000 for lost community property. Tom grinned. We'll countersue for unauthorized use, back rent, and distress. Over tacos, he warned. They want to bleed you dry. That night, my neighbor Clara, a retired librarian, brought pie and a story. Victoria had forced her to replace her patio for aesthetic violations while she was away, costing $1,500. She's a crook in Chanel, Clara said. I created an anonymous Google form for HOA complaints. Within days, 18 stories poured in fake fines, harassment, foreclosure threats. Victoria wasn't just after me. She was a predator. I tipped Channel 5's anchor, Sarah Klein, a high school acquaintance. She filmed at my ranch, airing HOA tyranny. Local man fights back at 6 p.m. It went viral. The next meeting was chaos. Victoria was absent. Evelyn and Ryan faltered as residents like Clara and Lisa shared horror stories. A vote to suspend the board passed, but the injunction froze it. That night, Clara texted at 2:37 a.m. Found something. She arrived with a USB from Evelyn's laptop, left at her house. It held HOA files, petty complaints, then damning evidence. Emails with Travis Land Company about annexing my barn for a community zone, blueprints, and a ledger showing $92,000 in storage fees, half siphoned to V. Hart Enterprises, a Cayman Islands shell. Victoria was embezzling. Tom called it felony fraud. We requested a DA investigation and subpoenaed the laptop. Channel 5 ran a follow-up. HOA fraud allegations. Victoria vanished, her house emptied overnight. Sheriff Hayes confirmed she'd fled to Mexico City. Then, my barn was vandalized red spray paint. You think you won. You didn't. I added locks and cameras, but unease grew. Residents emailed about overcharges and fake fines. Carla nearly lost her home to a sham lien. Ben paid $400 for mailbox repaints. We expanded the countersuit into a class action with 27 plaintiffs, alleging fraud and harassment. I confronted Ryan, the IT guy. Pale and disheveled, he admitted building Victoria's payment system, discovering her secret ledger after the auction. She threatened my job, he whispered. $92,000 to a dummy account. He agreed to testify. Evelyn, scared, shared a recorded call of Victoria admitting to cash schemes. We submitted it all to the DA. Then, a federal warrant was issued for Victoria's arrest. I stood in the rain, relieved until a manila envelope appeared on my table. No break-in, just photos. Me, Clara, my barn at night, and a note. You're making enemies you can't see. Hayes called it stalking, taping the HOA office as investigators seized records. Victoria's locked back room held secrets even Evelyn didn't know. My horses were let loose, unharmed but a clear threat. A 3:42 a.m. email from a burner account attached a video of Victoria's retaliation plan phase 3, files for media exposure, my auction, board betrayal. A list named Allies Contractors, a PI named Ethan K., a surveillance shop owner, even Clara's mailman, Tom, spying on her packages. Hayes ordered me to Clara's. She brandished a bat. Let them try, Tom called. The lawsuit hearing was rushed, a new judge. They want to bury you, he said. We needed a witness. I called Ryan, who texted back. I'm in. Promise the truth comes out. In court, packed with reporters, Ryan testified, exposing the ledgers, threats, and Ethan's surveillance. The opposing lawyer paled. Tom moved to dismiss, citing retaliatory fraud. Judge Harper ruled. Case dismissed with prejudice. Relief washed over me. Tom handed me a letter from Victoria, postmarked Mexico City. It wasn't about the barn. It's what's beneath. They're coming for your land. My grandfather's words hit me: old oil well under the barn. Victoria's scam was a land grab. With Tom and Clara, I found a trapdoor under newer floorboards. A staircase led to a 1957 chamber. Brooks Oil Reserve, Test Site 2. A geologist confirmed capped reserves worth millions. Offers flooded in, but a 1961 HOA clause claimed shared mineral rights if I drilled. It was their trap: push me to dig, then seize it. I declared the land a preservation zone, vowing no drilling. Victoria was arrested, facing extradition. The HOA dissolved. Ryan started anew. Evelyn joined a book club. Clara launched a blog, HOA Hell. I rebuilt the barn, painting over the red words, adding a sign. Private property. Trust welcome. The cameras blink, but peace holds for now. Who's out there, fighting their own HOA war?